Hello, hello! I wanted to test out my new camera attachment, so I'm going to be doing a brush demonstration and watch the footage later to see if there's an improved video quality and audio quality. And of course, feel free to chime in on whether you think it's better or you think the difference is so marginal I shouldn't even bother. So to get started, I'm going to use the Bisyodo B-FD-01 foundation brush. This is Koyomo hair. Obviously, I've already used it. That's why the hairs are a little bit yellow. Otherwise, they're the snowy white you normally see. So this is a very dense, very thick Plush foundation brush, and it's honestly one of my favorites. It is a little on the smaller size, but I find it still to be pretty efficient. The handle is a lacquered African rosewood, and the ferrule is 24K plated. The writing, I've seen some people say it does rub off over a while, but mine hasn't. Maybe it's a difference in humidity, skin chemistry, your hand oils and whatnot, but I haven't found that mine's worn off yet. I have found that, well, with any shiny ferrule, of course, you get minor scratches and dings as you use it, but that's just normal. I've had this for, I want to say, a year and a half or 2 years now, and I have dropped it once, and I don't know if you can see that little ding, that little chip there. It was a big dent. I just kind of filled it in with clear nail polish so it doesn't bug me as much. But yeah, that's this foundation brush, and you'll see how makeup applies with it in a moment. And of course, I'm using this with my usual cream foundation. I haven't used it with liquid foundation, to be honest. I have used it with more liquidy foundation, where I take my foundation and mix it for primer to make it more spreadable. But I haven't used it with a true fluid foundation. And if you're wondering where the Dior foundation from my last video went, I returned that one because it caused me little breakouts that you can still kind of see lingering. So with most foundation brushes, I apply my foundation by spreading it out first, and then I use the brush to blend. So I'm first going to use these linear strokes to spread out more. And then I'm going to buff it in. Because most of the discoloration for me, like most people, does occur in the center of my face. That's why I started concentrated on the center and then blend down. It is a beautiful brush. I would highly recommend getting it if using this type of brush is something that appeals to you. I do have to say that even though it is Koyomo and it's the highest grade of goat hair, besides Koyomo, but you don't use Koyomo for foundation brushes. Because it is so densely packed, once in a while you can feel a hair poke you. For example, my sister has a more sensitive, drier skin type. And when I was testing all my foundation brushes on her, she said, I can feel a couple hairs in this, but otherwise it's pretty soft. I can pat it around here with impunity. Though for her, she does feel some hairs if I like go directly perpendicular and pat really hard. I guess that's all the dangers with good makeup brushes, right? You buy a brush, it's beautiful, but hey, it's gonna have this sort of wear and tear, and it's going to happen, and you're going to have to replace it eventually, so you might as well get your enjoyment out of it while you have it. Of course, with the brushes, I have the Maki lacquer designs on them. I'm a little bit more careful with those. But for like utility brushes, I consider this a utility brush because I do reach for this foundation brush quite often. Even though it's very pretty, it's a utility brush at the end of the day. I'm going to apply a little bit of cream contour. This is more for just shading rather than true contour. And it'll also help kind of hide that pigmentation spot from my breakout. And then to get more precision with this, I'm just going to move it back and forth by patting it in a line rather than doing the big circle buffing. And then I'm just applying the makeup now because I do have an unboxing video I'm going to do shortly. My Shakuda brushes from Amazon have arrived. Admittedly, I did open the box already, and then when I took a look at the packaging, I thought, okay, this is significant. This is significant enough for me to do an unboxing video because there's several things about the packaging that I mentioned in my last video on food globalization that have sort of come true in this latest batch of brushes I have. I'm just going to run this over my eyelids real quick, get rid of any discoloration, and I think I'm pretty satisfied. I do a little bit under my chin because I have straight sunlight coming in right now, and it's kind of washing me out. Something I do like about the Bisyodo brushes, their long handles have the truly long handles that more Western style makeup brands use and you might be more used to. Do a little more blending here. Shade a bit up here. And then you can see it's kind of picked up some foundation. This is the part where I didn't really wipe it off, but if I wipe it off on a microfiber towel, it kind of returns to how it looked in the beginning. So it's pretty easy to clean in between uses. Somebody asked how long do I go with a foundation brush before I clean it. Usually 3, 4, maybe 5 uses depending on how many products I'm layering on. So example, if I use it with blush and contour and highlight and foundation, I usually clean it after 3 uses. But if I'm doing just blush and foundation and contour, I can get away with 4 to 5 uses if I clean it in between on a microfiber cloth. The reason why with highlight I can only get away with 3 uses is because highlight by its very nature is more shimmery. So then that kind of interferes with contour, which I prefer to be matte. So that's pretty much the reason why. And then because of this oval surface, I do have more control than if I was using a round brush, like say the B-FD-01. I love that brush, but it doesn't do cream blush very well because it's just too big and has too much surface area. However, it is faster than the Bisyodo foundation brush at doing foundation. However, that brush is now discontinued, so there's really no point in me talking about it. Well, I guess if you already have the brush and you have no idea how to use it, me talking about it would help, but maybe I'll bring it back one day. Or maybe it's available in the new synthetic line. I'd be interested in trying that for sure, or if someone already has it, I'd love to hear what you think of it if you have the natural hair version to compare to as well. I'm just applying a little bit of cream highlighter. And then I'm going to follow this with some powder using another brush. So for those of you who joined just now rather than in the beginning, I'm just doing my makeup, setting it up for a video I'm doing right afterwards. I figured if I'm going to be applying makeup with brushes, I might as well show you the brushes I'm using. And then I'm going to take a bit of primer. Yes, I still have the Urban Decay primer in the old Genie tube. I had a bunch of these when they discontinued them, and I've been keeping them in cold storage, just a little mini fridge since. Okay, I'm going to finish off with just a little bit of powder, and then I'll end the video, apply my mascara, and then pop back on. So the brush I'm using for powder is this Koyomo Nadeshiko, aka Pink Pearl powder brush. This is made of ototsuo hair, the twist is that the hair was gathered about 30 years ago, and it's exceptionally smooth and springy. I really, really love this brush. I have a video on the Koyomo Ototsuo hair brushes, the powder brush, the cheek brush, the eye brush, and the flat eye brush. So I highly recommend checking that video out because these are honestly one of my favorite brushes. And then this powder brush is particularly well suited for loose powder because you can see how much flex this has. So if you're trying to pick up a pressed powder with this, you might have to swirl a little bit harder, but because it is goat hair, it will kind of rough up the surface and pick up your powder nicely as well. However, I prefer using either this loose powder that I have now or a baked powder, and then this picks up both pretty great. Use it to set a little bit under my chin. Oops, that's too much powder. And I prefer to take it off my hand rather than the tray inside the compact because I don't like the inside getting dirty. I'd rather get my hands dirty and then wash my hands rather than get the compact dirty. Or not compact, the little sleeve inside. So that's my brush demo for the Bisyodo FD-01 or B-FD-01 and the Koyomo, or the actual name's a lot longer. It's easier to just call it the Koyomo Nadeshiko or pink pearl powder brush. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video on these two and got an idea of whether these brushes would be for you or not, or how to use them. And I'll see you shortly. Bye.